Today, we're not really scratching the surface. We're going deeper into some dark archives. We're recounting true accounts, mysteries, unsolved crimes, stuff pulled from old police files, the unsettling corners of the internet. Think of this as a journey through stories that prove the most disturbing horrors. Well, they're often the ones left hanging, unresolved. Our goal here is just to relay these unsettling stories and maybe think about the human actions or inaction that let these puzzles stick around. We start with something pretty unnerving, just how many criminals simply walked away. First, let's look at the sort of psychological terror in the file of the Connecticut River Killer. He's linked to the murders of at least 7 women. This was in the New Hampshire and River Valley areas back in the 80s. The violence was precise but extreme. Victims stabbed, sometimes, up to 29 times.
Right. And what's striking about a killer like this, high control, isn't just the brutality. It's their ability to manage risk. Yeah. And the really fascinating thing here, the abrupt stop, just calculated halt in activity. His last intended victim, she was pregnant, she survived the attack, and while she was fleeing, literally running for her life, she accidentally saw the killer's car driving ahead of her.
Wow. So she escaped, gave testimony.
Exactly. And he vanished permanently. Yep. Never surfaced again.
Just knowing he just stopped. Chose to live among us instead of risking getting caught. It's profoundly disturbing. Yeah. And this same kind of chilling anonymity, it defines the Burger Chef Massacre from 1978. 4 young employees, teenagers mostly, 16 to 20 years old, kidnapped and murdered by 2 unknowns. And the motive? Seemingly just about $500.
You'd think, okay, a robbery gone wrong maybe?
Yeah, but the initial response from the police was, well, shocking. The employees were gone, the register was empty, so police first thought the kids took the money and went partying.
That initial assumption is staggering. Yeah. It really shows a failure to grasp how serious it was right away. Then, 2 days later, the horrifying reality hits. The bodies are found 20 miles away. 2 executed, shot in the head, 1 stabbed, another beaten to death with a heavy chain.
The level of violence.
Extreme overkill. Way beyond what's needed for a simple robbery. It suggests something else. Targeted rage, maybe something ritualistic, not just panic. And the suspects, never identified, vanished.
Okay, so finally, in this archive of unseen faces, we have the specter of Bible John in Glasgow. This killer murdered 3 young mothers in the late 1960s. He met them all at the ballroom, a popular spot. His signature was chillingly personal. He strangled them with their own nylon stockings.
And the only reason we even call him Bible John, the last victim's sister was with him, shared a taxi. She specifically noted how he kept quoting scripture. Constantly.
So that name's stuck.
Right. And this case sparked one of the biggest police investigations in Scottish history. They took DNA swabs from so many men in Glasgow. I mean, thousands. Police actually had to issue official cards to guys saying, okay, you've been swabbed, you're cleared, just to ease community tension.
But even with that massive effort.
His real identity. Still unknown. And the tragedy got deeper. There was this one man. The media sort of piled on him based on speculation. A smear campaign. He ended up taking his own life.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And later DNA analysis proved he was completely innocent. So Bible John's face, his real identity, it remains one of those agonizing voids in criminal history.
Okay, so those are the physical ghosts of the past. Unnerving, right. But imagine a mystery unfolding, not in some dark alley, but on like an old image hosting website run by an old man named Milo. We're shifting now, from police files to the shadows in our modern digital world, the mystery of the Lake City quiet pills. This whole thing kicked off about 7 years ago on Reddit. A user posted a memorial, pretty simple, for his friend. The friend used the screen name Religion of Peace, real name Milo, supposedly died of a heart attack, age 79, seemed like just an old guy, I know. A WWII vet, a moderator on some forums.
But when investigators started digging into Milo's online presence, things got strange. There was this weird mismatch between his persona and his website. The site was called That Old Guy Image Host. Seems harmless enough. But the actual domain name, lakecityquietpills.com.
Lake City Quiet Pills. Yeah, that's unsettling on its own. But the real digital rabbit hole was hidden in the source code. Inside the website's HTML, there were these strings of completely encrypted messages. And crucially, they weren't static. They changed over time.
Right. Which strongly suggested it wasn't just leftover code. It was an active system. Covert communication. Kind of like the internet version of an old number station you'd hear on shortwave radio.
So what were these messages?
Well, attempts to decrypt them suggested they were passing sensitive details, essential information, from Milo to someone, unknown associates. Now, connect that functionality, this hidden communication channel, to Milo himself. He'd written online, pretty casually actually, about his extensive expertise in the field of killing people.
Okay, wow. So the picture starts to form. The theory, and it's widely believed by people who investigated this online, is pretty sinister, that the site worked as a dead drop, a communication hub for contract killers, hitmen.
And the name, Lake City Quiet Pills.
Yeah, the thinking is it refers to ammunition pills for guns, or maybe just silent permanent removal, quiet pills. And the assignments, the jobs, were passed using this encrypted code. Some think the word party might have been a euphemism for an assignment.
So if Milo was this online organizer for assassins, why the sudden, convenient death? A heart attack at 79.
That's the final suspenseful question, isn't it? The theory is he might have been silenced by his own associates. Maybe he got too vocal online, too risky, compromising the operation. So was he forced to fake his death and disappear? Or was he literally silenced? Either way, the organizer of these quiet pills is gone, and the full story remains unsolved.
All right, let's pivot now. Abruptly, really, to a different kind of horror. This one is visceral, physical, utterly inescapable. It's the story of John Jones and the Nutty Putty Cave back in 2009. Happened in Utah County. John was 26, a medical student. He was exploring this cave system, went down an unmapped tunnel, a really tight, treacherous spot, and he fell head first, got completely wedged upside down in this narrow passage. They said it was about the width of a washing machine opening, just stuck.
And the danger wasn't just being trapped, it was immediate, potentially fatal. Being upside down like that, at that angle, blood and fluids start pooling severely in his head, in his lungs, plus the pressure on his chest. Just from being wedged so tightly, it made breathing incredibly difficult. Agonizing. He was gasping for air right from the start. So a rescue effort kicked off, huge one. Over 100 people involved. It was desperate, chaotic. They managed somehow to get a rope around John's legs, tried to set up this complex pulley system, but the angle, the physics of it was basically impossible. And they realized this awful truth. To pull him out with enough force, they'd probably have to break his legs.
Right. And given the state he was already in, the compression being inverted, the shock from that, it would likely kill him instantly. It was this terrible zero-sum choice, an impossible situation.
They kept trying, though, for 24 desperate hours, working against the physics, against time.
But then disaster. The police system failed, equipment problems, it was devastating. They had to pull back, regroup, wait.
They did manage to get a police radio down the tunnel somehow. John was able to speak to his wife, briefly, one last time. Then he became unresponsive. He died after being trapped for 27 agonizing hours.
And the final, just harrowing detail here.
They could never retrieve his body. It was just too dangerous, too inaccessible. So that specific part of the cave where John rests, they sealed it permanently with concrete. It's his final resting place now. A literal tomb deep underground. Wait, let's end with just a couple of quick, bizarre modern encounters, things that don't really have a logical explanation, weird threads in everyday life. First, think about this. A Reddit user, about 7 months ago, their smart home app starts sending visitor-detected notifications. Middle of the night, they check the camera feed, nothing there. Okay, maybe a glitch, faulty sensor, stray cat. But then it happens again the next night, and the third night, these notifications keep coming, building tension. Until finally, 4:07 a.m. on that third night, the phone buzzes. One last notification.
Just unsettling, no explanation given.
Nope, just ends there, leaves you hanging. And then there's this even stranger shared story. The UFO photos in Nebraska. 3 different people, turns out. All used to work as photo developers, years apart, starting back in 1999. And they all recount meeting the exact same mysterious customer.
The description was consistent.
Very consistent. A man in a blue hat. He was sweating, seemed really agitated, in a frantic rush.
And the only reason these 3 developers even made the connection years later online was the film he dropped off.
Right. They all said they processed the most convincing pictures of UFOs they had ever seen, like hyper-realistic, better than any movie special effects, strange craft hovering over a field, weird figures standing nearby.
Wow. And the coincidence.
All 3 encounters happened in or near the same small area, Broken Bow, Nebraska. So these 3 former developers, they've connected online now. They've actually agreed to meet up, try and finally figure out who this strange, sweating man in the blue hat was, and what on earth he managed to capture on film.
Another mystery with no clear answer.
Exactly. And that's the common thread here, isn't it? From the cold case files like the Connecticut River Killer, the digital maze of Lake City, to the sheer physical horror of the Nutty Putty Cave and this weirdness with the man in the blue hat, it's the permanent nature of the unknown. When a mystery just stays a void, it confirms that some darkness just exists without explanation. It forces you to kind of redefine what safe really means. So we'll leave you with this final unsettling thought. What secrets might be hiding in plain sight right where you live? What terrifying reality could you stumble upon if you just look below the surface? Thank you for tuning into this exploration of the disturbing and unexplained. We appreciate you joining us for this deep dive into the archives of the unknown. If you found these accounts compelling or just chilling, please show your support for the channel, Horror Docs. Hit that like button, share this story if you think others should hear it, and definitely subscribe for more accounts of true crime and horror. Until next time, stay aware.